Thank you, everybody. Good morning. I'm glad you took the time to see a Zoom talk about this very important issue. I thought it was very timely to have Father Chris here because he is the summer pastor of Our Lady of Poland, and he will be going back to Poland soon. So I wanted to capture Father Chris on film. He's a brilliant man. He's an academic, and he will be talking about himself right after the next slide. Here's Our Lady of Poland. This is where Father Chris, how long have you been here, Father Chris?
Oh, thank you for having me this morning. Thank you so much. The story started 24 years ago in 1998, summertime. I was, for the first time in my life, invited to serve in Our Lady of Poland Church in Southampton, and that story continues till today.
Here's a view of Lublin, where Father Chris is living and attending university as a professor, and it is one of the most gorgeous villages I've seen. You'll notice there's no skyscrapers. I think, Father Chris, you said there's 330,000 people that live in this city, but look how beautiful it is. It's just so nice. Father Chris, do you get to enjoy the city, or are you too busy?
Yeah, I'm enjoying my city, and I was born there. I'm Polish, like my parents are Polish as well. Proud to be Polish, very, very much proud. And that city is beautiful. It was established in 1333, received like the rights, official rights to be a city, recognized as a city. One thing I would like to share with you in Lublin, in my city, it was a very famous academy of the sages of Lublin. It was Jewish academy for Jewish people, for all those who probably wanted to become rabbis or teachers. It was established in 1930. It was like one of the best, the biggest in Europe academy, Jewish academy, and was closed and destroyed by Nazis in 1939.
Oh, that's so interesting. Who knew that? That's a great story. Let's see the next slide. Where are we, Father Chris?
Yes, we are inside the castle. Lublin, as a city established in Middle Ages, was a royal city for some time, and the castle was there with a beautiful chapel. We see from outside, and we will see from inside, right, Tom?
Yeah, the next slide.
Yeah, that's
Stunning.
We are very proud of it. Those frescoes, wall paintings, were made, I think, in the Middle Ages for sure, probably the 10th or 11th century, very old, very old. And this is like the artist anonymous artist, we don't know who was he, but he came from the East, and he belonged to Eastern Christianity, and was invited to Lublin to do those frescoes. Beautiful.
I've been in a lot of cathedrals in Europe, and I've never seen a room filled like this. Usually there's just a ceiling or a few fragments on the wall, but this is a complete set of frescoes. This is beautiful. And the photograph doesn't do it justice. It's very much bluer in life, I think. Is that right, Father Chris? This is the faded photograph. Let's see the next slide.
Right.
And this is Father Chris. Go ahead.
Yes, we are not in Lublin. We are not far away, 30 miles from Lublin. However, it's a beautiful, historic, beautiful small village, Kazimierz, over by Vistula River, the biggest river in Poland. But that picture shows like Middle Ages architecture, and this is like beautiful. It looks like someday you will visit Lublin and the region in Poland, I guess, Tom.
Yes, I have to. I thought this was Lublin when I found it on the internet, but the bas reliefs on this are incredible. It's very early Renaissance. It's stunning. Next one, Connor.
Yeah.
This is your university, Father.
This is where I work. My first job is teaching. I'm a teacher, academic. Started 24 years ago. And this is the John Paul II Catholic University of Lublin. I'm so much proud to be able to teach there. I teach theology. And let me tell you that Karol Wojtyła, before he became John Paul II, I mean the Pope, he has been teaching at my university for about 25 years. He was philosopher and he taught ethics.
I believe
we're much proud.
Father Chris, is there a relic from John Paul II inside Our Lady of Poland?
Correct. We keep his relic, which is a piece of his cassock, I guess. He wears it, and this is a small piece. We keep it under his beautiful picture in Our Lady of Poland.
I've seen that. And did you arrange that? How did it relic get to Southampton?
No, it was not arranged by me, by the pastor, Father Janusz. He worked on it. I know that he wrote a letter to first to the Diocese of Rockville Center, and then he wrote a special letter requesting for a relic to the Holy See, the Vatican. And he was successful. He got the relic. That's why we are able to keep the relic constantly in the church.
It's a great connection. Next one, please. There you are.
Yep, here I am, and this is like special day. University. Someone, I don't remember who was there, but someone earned that day PhD in theology. I was a member of academic commission, established for that issue. And this is like shortly after the whole procedure was over. So I'm just spreading like my congratulations to that person. And that for that occasions, we academics have to wear like special uniforms, recognizing the Middle Ages origins of academia.
No, I see that. And Father Chris, you've written a lot of books. You've done a lot of academic work.
Oh, I think so. But yeah, I released 2 monographs in Polish, 2 monographs. Now I'm working on a monograph in English. It's going to be about Joseph Ratzinger theology. This is my passion. I mean, Ratzinger is my passion. I'm sure he's the best Christian theologian of our time. So my book will be all about his theology and apologetics, working on it. The second, my topic I'm so much passionate about is the Shroud of Turin. And I've done a lot of research on it and trying to do more.
That's interesting. Well, is that one going to be in English or Polish?
It's going to be in English, like the third book in English, definitely. I applied for some money to my university authorities, was granted the money. The money is being spent for doing good translation and proofreading by a native speaker.
Keep us up to date about that. I'd like
I will. I promise.
Next slide, please. Okay, Russia invades the Ukraine, and I was surprised to see the date. It seems to me like it's been going on forever, but it was February 24th, 2022. What happened, Father Chris?
Yes, it was Thursday, like today, one thing, and this is like, it's easy to count, 176 days ago. It was unexpected. I mean, American intelligence warned Europe, like all Europe, that it will happen. but the majority of people did not believe that. I personally did not believe. I
Really?
couldn't believe that someone would like to invasion and start like a new war in Europe, in Europe, which suffered for World War One, World War Two, so many times, so many wars in the past. I couldn't believe that, but it happened. Sadly,
Does Poland feel threatened with this action?
yes, very much. I remember old Polish people reaction on that day, February the 4th, 24th. They were all frightened because they remember old people in Poland and elsewhere remember September the 1st, 1939, the first day of the Second World War, when Poland was invaded by Nazi Germany, September the 1st, and then 17 days after, September 17th, Russia invaded Poland from the east. So they remember how unexpected it was, how brutal it was, how unjust it was. So yeah, like old people are still, I guess, very frightened because they don't know how far.
That sounds terrifying. And the relationships between Poland and the Ukraine have been a little mixed, right?
That's the point. That's the point because like years ago, decades ago, last century, many clashes, many tensions, and suffering from both sides, like border zone between Poland and Ukraine, many villages, cities, like Ukrainians were living there, Polish people were living there, and they were fights, I would say. This is like also part of my family history. My father, who passed away last November at age of 82, he was born in 1939, and he told me that story very many times. When he was born in a very small country village.
Next slide, Connor. I think we're going to see.
Called Kryłów, and this is and as a 5 years old kid, his parents, his aunt and himself, they had to flee, like escape from that small village because they were afraid, like many other Polish people, to be killed by Ukrainians. Like both nations wanted to get that land, and they were from both sides, clashes and tensions, I would say. So, but guess what happened? Like today, like February 24th, like we Polish people, majority of Polish people, forgotten the past. We are focused now on today, and today the situation is that like Ukrainians need help. That's why we've started helping them.
Let's go to the next one. So this alliance, the Lublin Triangle, was formed right after the invasion, correct?
No, before that invasion.
Oh, was it before? Okay.
Before that. So you can see on the picture where Lublin is located, you can see Poland, you can see Ukraine, how big that country is. You can see also up Lithuania. So Lublin Triangle is like 3 countries working together, but like Ukrainians, they somehow knew and tried to be prepared for any Russian action. So they are not a NATO member. NATO, I'm sure you know what is that. NATO said that Ukraine cannot be a NATO member. But years ago, I would say about 20 years ago, 15 years ago, that triangle was created just to help Ukraine be prepared. for anything from Russia or any other country, but first of all from Russian side, and that's why Ukraine is very well prepared, was very well prepared, because like even though Ukraine is not a NATO member, many soldiers, many officials, army officials collaborated together with Poland and Lithuania.
That's so interesting. I didn't know that until I was researching your talk, but I think that's a good illustration of the location. And Belarus is right there between Lithuania and Ukraine. What's their position on the invasion?
Yes, it's just again very good point, because like yesterday, the day before yesterday, I've seen in Polish news that American intelligence discovered like some movement, huge movement in Belarus, like soldiers, arms, weapons concentrated at the border with Ukraine, meaning that not being very much successful on the southeast, Russia is trying to, who knows, probably attack Ukraine from the north, from Belarus ground. Belarus, you cannot say is an independent country, is dependent country. Belarus today depends on Russia economy and Putin's regime. So the president of Belarus, Lukashenko, he does whatever, almost whatever Putin orders him to do. So we are very much afraid that Belarus is a part of the game and might be very dangerous player in that game.
Okay, next slide. So everybody leaves. This is Ukrainians just beginning to leave. When did that begin, Father Chris?
Yes, it began the very first day. It was early morning. Ukraine was attacked early in the morning, I would say 4 or 5 p.m. So people were informed, like sirens in the cities everywhere. So people just immediately, they were somehow prepared for that. So they started fleeing Ukraine, entering Poland. It's probably the border point, one of many border points. So Poland opened all borders for Ukrainians, mostly women and children. You can see that picture. So, the first day, the second day, every day, about 50,000 refugees entered Poland at that time, February, early March. And now in Poland, we do have about 4 million war refugees.
Wow.
Some of them started coming back to Ukraine very recently, I know, but
Really?
many remain in Poland. Some just left Poland and they came to Canada, the United States, other countries when their relatives, family live. So, but like we do have about right now, about 4 million Ukrainians on the ground in Poland.
Father Chris, why was Poland so receptive to taking in refugees?
Yeah, it might be like amazing, and also like a question mark why Polish people who suffered sometimes very greatly from Ukrainians do that. So my reply, my answer is, first of all, Poland is still a Christian country and Catholic country, even though some people don't attend, don't believe, they have it in their DNA, in their blood. Because we do have many beautiful Christian Catholic traditions for centuries. One of them is the help your neighbor. Take care of your neighbor if your neighbor needs help. Imagine Christmas Eve, one of the most beautiful customs we do have in Poland for centuries is so-called Christmas Eve additional seat, I would say, custom. It means that Christmas Eve, supper time, all families gathered together, and this like almost Thanksgiving in America. We have to get together. We have to eat that supper, particular supper, Christmas Eve supper together. And the custom is at the table, you must leave additional seat empty and additional plate empty, ready to accept a traveler visiting you, unexpected guest. So it worked. I think it worked.
That sounds so nice. That's a good way to relieve tensions in family or between countries. We should be doing more of that here in America.
Oh yeah. Let me tell you also, Tom, because number two, we know what Ukrainians experience like right now, because we are on the same page.
Right.
Like Ukrainians right now, they do have it, and Polish people, Poland, suffered a lot in the 20th century, many times from Russians. So we are now on the same page. Plus, we remember, as Polish people, we remember so-called the Great Hunger. Do you know what the Great Hunger is?
No.
The Great Hunger happened in 1932-33 under Stalin regime. Ukrainian farmers at the time, Ukraine was a part of Soviet Union, obviously. However, and they were pushed, Ukrainian farmers were pushed by Stalin to nationalize all farms, private farms, and they didn't want that. They didn't allow Stalin to do that. So do you know what the Stalin's response was? He created artificial hunger in Ukraine.
You know, the history of Poland is a whole topic by itself. It's very rich, and so many wars, so many governments. It's amazing.
Yes.
Let's go to the next slide.
Yeah.
That needs a talk all by itself. Really, it's fascinating.
Yeah, and this is a Roman Catholic parish of the Holy Trinity. This is my church. This is my parish in Lublin, Poland, where I live and serve for 24 years. So you might see a small chapel, first building, and you might see a new church. We are constructing new church made of bricks. My pastor, who is responsible for constructing the new church, told me that we used 1,300,000 bricks for this new church. Opening should be probably next year. You're very much invited.
Okay, next slide. Where are we now?
Yes, we are still in Lublin, my city, and this is those two buildings in front. These are Caritas Lublin headquarters. Caritas is the Catholic charities in Lublin, my city, my diocese, and this is like the hub, like the center of help given to Ukrainians on the ground, and also help offered to Ukrainians living in Poland. We don't have in Poland, believe me or not, but we don't have refugees camps. We don't have them because we didn't need them. We did not. Polish people welcomed Ukrainian refugees under their tents, literally in their homes, so that we don't need camps.
So Caritas is that an older organization that assumed the care of refugees, or was it?
It's very old. Yes, true. It's very old. It was established before World War II, when Poland granted sovereignty in 1918. So the Polish Church, Catholic Church in Poland, established Catholic charities called Caritas in the whole country. And in 1945, when World War II was over and Poland was under Russian, communist Russia control, of course, the authorities controlled by communists, they closed Caritas because they didn't want any like independent church organization operating in the country. Caritas was reopened, I would say, about 30 years ago. Poland was became a free country again in 1989, when all those post-war communist period was over. So, and I remember that day, I remember that year, I meant that moment when we were able to breathe freedom again.
Amazing. That must have been really heart from your heart. You know, everybody must have been so joyful. I'm going to take a guess here. Caritas is Latin for charity?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes. Every city, every diocese has it. Is it like national? However, every diocese, Catholic diocese, has like its own headquarters, president. So yeah.
Speaking of which, let's go to the next slide. I thought there was going to be another one. Well, here you are.
Yes, here I am, and in my parish, because like in my parish, there's nuns, Catholic nuns, Franciscan nuns, missionaries living. They do have a big house, a convent. The first day, since the brutal Russian invasion started, sisters, nuns welcomed many refugees, women and children. So we came to the point, sisters and I, that we should do in our parish something for Ukrainian children and Polish community. So we had a Polish-Ukrainian festival one day. It was May 28th of May. It was Saturday. So we just invited Ukrainians, women and children to spend few hours together. We played soccer. We had international soccer match, Poland-Ukraine, and Ukraine won, by the way, won because of girls.
What? What?
Yeah, because of girls. Yes, it's a true story. It's just in Poland, practically only boys play soccer. In Ukraine, also girls play soccer and love it. So I somehow allowed Ukrainian team to have girls, and the girls scored 2 or 3 times. So that's why Poland defeated.
Interesting. Very interesting. Are there language barriers? There must be.
Yeah, true. Ukraine is a little bit different. Polish is different. You cannot just communicate easily. However, in the situation of desperation and necessity, you find out the language. Some of Ukrainian children speak English. So and Polish children speak English too. They learn English at schools. So it's like English became as communication language. And also you may see a priest on this picture. He is Ukrainian, and he of course speaks Ukrainian. He's a citizen of Ukraine, and he is a student. He studies at the university where I teach, and he speaks Polish too. And the sister you might see on the picture, she speaks Polish and Ukrainian as well.
Oh, that's
so
great.
We do have like, and please remember that before February 24th, for many years, we have about 1,000 Polish priests and nuns living and working in Ukraine. That's why Poland helped Ukrainians and also Ukraine refugees and Ukraine as a country, because we love Ukraine, we love those people. Here you can see a fire truck at the festival, Polish-Ukraine festival. Firemen were great. They somehow participated, and they just brought their fire truck, which was the best attraction at the festival. So kids were like, kids love it, and they wanted to be inside, outside, to see everything, and all of them, I believe, would like to become firemen.
Of course they are.
Sure. Oh yes, it shows those girls, beautiful and good soccer player. This is why Ukraine won the match, and I'm hoping Ukraine would won that war and protect the country.
Father Chris, tell me how how do children feel? I mean, they must be confused and terrorized, and they look happy because they're playing now, and that's such a great way to calm kids down, is give them activities. But when they're not playing activities, what are they like?
Yes, Tom, I observed that myself. So at the festival, when I had opportunity to watch children, Ukrainian children, Polish children, I saw the difference. All of a sudden, it was easy, very easy to see, to observe, because like in Ukrainian children eyes, you could see like some kind of dark inside, sadness, stress, and uncertainty. Also, I tried to talk to a few teenagers, Ukrainian teenagers, was not successful, Tom.
I'm wondering if any of the children have lost their, I'm wondering if have any of the children lost their parents or came over by themselves?
Very many. I cannot give you a number, but on Ukraine ground, there were many orphanages before that started. Of course, like it's obvious. They were first children to being evacuated to Poland, those orphans. But imagine what, we talk about that war orphans, that Russian aggression in the Ukraine made many children orphans because they lost mother and father. I cannot give you the exact number, but we take care of them. I know that Caritas Lublin takes care of about 50 orphans. Some of them are only that war orphans.
That's terrible. And what are we looking at here?
Yeah, this is it shows some activities Caritas Lublin is doing, organizing. So you can see the name Caritas. Caritas in Latin means love, charity, also giving love. Love is sacrificing for others. Love without conditions, without limits. So this is what we have. And you might see children. Those children look very happy because they see toys. They were able to take any toy they would like to. So many donors, volunteers offered and gave so much stuff to all those children and families. But I'm telling you again, you know, when they don't play, when those children don't play with toys, when it's a picture, they know it's a picture taken, so that's why they smile, they keep smiling, it's beautiful. But if it's not a picture, if you can have an opportunity to talk to them, to watch them, they are not very happy. I tried myself to talk to two teenagers, 14, 15 years old, and boy, I tried, and he speaks English, me too, and he didn't. And I asked him questions like, "How are you feeling in Poland? What are you doing? How are you spending your time? What's about the future? What do you think? Who would you like to become? What kind of sports do you do?" He didn't ask any question. It was in May. I remember it was in May. He was feeling uncertain, far away from his country. His mother was behind him, but his father was fighting and is still fighting, and I believe is still alive. You know, it's for a young man who is at that age and probably would like to fight. It's not easy to live in a different country, far away from your brothers, sisters, it's just he didn't say anything that day. Here's still, you know, just the help. It's like a receiving point, and run by Caritas. So they do have many receiving points where people could receive some like this. For example, this is at the border, I guess, because this is the name of the village at the border, Dorohusk. It's border village. So this is like border point, exactly there. So people are able to take food, given the food, they don't have to pay for them. Plus, Polish government, shortly since it started, Polish government, as a country, offered social security number for all Ukrainians. They would like to apply for it. Social security number means official help, financial help, basic insurance, and also basic Medicare. So all Ukrainians living in Poland right now, they have social security number and that help. So you may see how many supplies, sources were sent to Caritas, and that help went to Ukraine. I have a letter here, thank you letter, signed by the president of Caritas Lublin. In that letter, he says that since the invasion started, 175 trucks with humanitarian aid left Caritas and reached Ukraine cities such as Kiev, Kharkiv, and others. And also, let me tell Tom, that Caritas Lublin is very much successful in getting help to Ukraine, and also could be very trusted because in Ukraine, in Kharkiv, which is the second biggest city in Ukraine, the president, the head of Caritas operating there on the ground is a priest who was born in my city. He's a Polish priest. Wojtek is his name. So we all know each other. So the help from Lublin, from Caritas Lublin, goes to him, to Kharkiv. So there are no leaks in communication. All help, all supplies go to him, and he knows what he should do. He knows the situation. He knows it the best. Yeah, so all those pictures show children and Caritas volunteers. There were many at the beginning. Look at them, smiling, happy, Polish people helping those in crisis. But now, my friend, who is the president of Caritas Lublin, priest, his name is Paul. Father Paul told me that now people like we do have, the number of volunteers is decreasing. Young people started like they have their own duties. So like the energy is like we lose the energy to help people. That's why Caritas Lublin reminds and keeps reminding about Ukraine and Ukraine refugees to Polish people, and will do that to elevate the spirit of giving help. The Father Paul told me, and he mentioned that in the letter, that he calculates that till now, till today, Caritas Lublin sent help, supplies, everything, food, all kind of help, material help, for more than $4 million. And all those donations were donated by Polish people, parishes, and also from our friends abroad. Let me tell you that Our Lady of Poland Church and Community collected more than $30,000 here in Southampton, and Our Lady of Poland Church transferred all that money to Caritas Lublin, and all that money successfully were spent on getting help to Ukrainian refugees.
We're going to be showing a slide soon about how anybody listening can help with that.
Of course.
So I made this slide. Anybody that wants to help Our Lady of Poland with Caritas can. Here's the information. I'm going to show this a second time in a few minutes. We're going to go now to the history of Our Lady Poland. Yeah,
just that's the beautiful picture taken in June 1919 when Our Lady of Poland Church was consecrated. However, the year before, the history of that beautiful country church started. The church was established and built by those beautiful men, all Polish immigrants who came to America looking for freedom, looking for food and jobs and just for the future. Poland at the time was not on the map of Europe, imagine. At that time, for 123 years, Poland was occupied by three empires, Russia, German Prussia, and Austria-Hungary. So it was not Poland on the map. Polish people were living just and working, but Poland, no more Poland, officially, no Poland in Europe. So they came to America, and they happened to them to come to East End, Southampton, Watermill, Bridgehampton, Riverhead. They worked hard as farmers, and after some time they came to the point that they would like to have the church where services would be said in Polish. They needed to express themselves in Polish, in their first language. My first language, which is Polish, so I'm sorry for all my mistakes in English. So and they did it.
I know several of your parishioners, and they're very strong about keeping the Polish community together, the traditions, the faith. They're
Right.
very strong, hardworking people, and I love this photograph because there's a lot of guys wearing neckties and holding a wet paintbrush. Now,
Yes,
are they actually painting? Probably not, but I just love this photograph. Let's see the next one. This is the nave.
fine. Yeah. So The history started in 1918 when they built or adjusted the barn to become a church, because in 1918 they bought Polish immigrants, more than 300 families together, collected money, and they bought a piece of farm on Maple Street by railroad station, 35 Maple Street exactly, and they adjusted the barn to be a church. You might see the church inside. 1918 was a very symbolic year for Poland because World War I was over that year, and Poland was granted the sovereignty again in that year. So it was like beautiful coincidence. 1918, Poland, homeland, free again, and 1918, Southampton, New York, Polish church established to serve Polish people.
That's a very poor photograph of the nave. You have to go in and see it in person.
Yeah,
it's the only one I could find. That's probably good. So everybody has to go see it. What is this?
Yeah, they celebrate. This is like probably 50 years, 50th anniversary celebration. And what's beautiful, you might see Colonel Francis Gabraski on the picture. Exactly, he's on the left, first row, the first man on the left, because like you pass West Hampton, maybe you live in West Hampton, so you see like Air Force airport is there, named Francis Gabraski Airport, and that's the guy. That's the Polish guy born in America, and he served as a soldier during World War II in England, in Air Force. Yeah, it's the story of Our Lady of Poland Church is beautiful. However, in the beginning of our century, they realized that the building was very old, so the roof and the walls started to go apart. So it was a huge danger for the building. The building became too dangerous because of that. So the pastor shown on the picture, Father Stanley Kandea, passed away 10 years ago. He had to make like a crucial decision, or to close the church, or to raise money to restoration. And he chose the second option. And with the great help of parishioners and friends, they all collected $1.2 million, and they fulfilled the project, restoration project. You might see on those pictures some stages of the restoration. It took part in the 27 and 28. So like all central part, middle part of the church was totally like rebuilt, not only refurbished, but practically changed. So the central part is like totally new. However, the town of Southampton wanted us to go back to the first historic looking, and this is what we have done. The church, which you can see today after restoration, is exactly the same how it was in the beginning. Exactly that picture is shown.
When Our Lady was going through the reconstruction, as we call it, it reminded me of Chinese preservation efforts. They have 700-year-old wooden temples in China that they look stunning. They look 700 years old, but the Chinese have a practice of taking down every 100 years, they take down the wooden temples and rebuild them so they preserve them.
Yes.
So I think there's something to be said for Chinese preservation methods, and this is what reminded me Our Lady of Poland did that too.
Correct.
Well, we have to talk about Our Lady of Hamptons here.
Yes, that Our Lady of Hamptons is a Catholic school, Catholic regional school, supported by Sacred Hearts of Jesus and Mary Parish in Southampton, Our Lady of Poland Parish in Southampton, and St. Rosalie's in Hampton Base. And so we are like one. The church, the parish, and the school, run by Sister Kathy, principal. The school is beautiful and very, very successful. It's great to see children, school students going to school and just studying the history of America, Europe, the world. It's just a bit.
It's a very good school, and it's led by Sister Catherine. Is she still there?
Yes, she's still there.
She's amazing.
Yeah, very amazing. Just a great part of the Hamptons and of the Our Lady of Poland of the Hamptons, of course.
Connor Flanagan, our assistant director, has a program. Connor, you want to talk about this?
Yeah, we have a picture here of a group of first graders that came from OLH to visit the museum back in 2018. We do field trips, obviously, with all the local schools all the time. Whenever they give us a call and want to schedule one. We haven't had OLH come in a while, but we'd be more than happy to do another field trip anytime one of the teachers wants.
Yeah, that's great. So, Father Patrick, how can we help you with the Ukrainian refugees?
Yes, first of all, by just keeping them in mind and keep Ukraine in mind. Please remember the first picture Tom showed, that young boy with Ukraine flag and with a note, Ukraine will never surrender. Please keep Ukraine in your mind, memory, and prayers. And if you only have the opportunity, try to find out what's going on in Ukraine on the ground. Because I know like Polish media cover all story day by day, 24/7. So I'm informed because I speak Polish, I understand Polish, so I can follow the news. I'm not sure how are the news, how is the coverage in America, what news say, what they don't say. I fully realize and understand that you guys are having like a lot of stuff to cover, like domestic issues going on. That's why Ukraine is probably not on the first page every day. So if you ask me how you might help, first of all, be really like informed and try to do the best to know what's true is going on the ground, how Ukraine is strong, how will not surrender. And number two, if you would like to support Ukraine refugees and Caritas Lublin, you may please contact Our Lady of Poland. It's 631-283-0667. Please call and ask what, and they will tell you what you might do. We do have a very good connection, a very good practice, and we have done that many times, like transfer money to Caritas Lublin, Poland, and it works. It has worked. It will work. So because we just we need, and Ukrainians need some support right now before winter. It's winter coming, so they need, and the country is still occupied, so they need money. We need money to offer them, to give them help, And also they need like some stuff, clothing, winter clothing as well. So if you call Our Lady of Poland, you would get like basic information.
Father Chris, I really want to thank you for spending the time to do this. You have a very busy summer here with all of our summer visitors, and it's been a pleasure to get to know you a little bit. I hope I get to know you more. I want to thank Jackie Serbinsky, who is a friend of all of us here. She's a parishioner of Our Lady of Poland, but she's a personal friend of mine, and she has been a Southampton History Museum supporter for a long, long time.
Thank you so very much, Tom.
All right.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, everybody, for watching.